until you go through roll. Keep them closed. And you can carry your little yoga kit, which includes your earplugs and your little ball of cloth and stuff like that, and your tube for washing out your nose. And then if you get more advanced, you have your long piece of cloth that you swallow when you bring out your rectum and you clean your intestines. Depends on how deep you want to get into the whole program. This is the first round of methodology, so we won't do any rectal cleaning today. So you try to keep the mulbun closed, and I'll try to remind you about it. And it doesn't matter where you're starting from. It doesn't matter anything about your age. It doesn't matter anything about your previous anything. It's just whether or not you're ready to do these kinds of things. I started yoga when I was 35, I guess, and I was, I couldn't have sat in this position for more than 10 seconds without excruciating pain, right? And oh, God, ooh, you know that place? And now I just put my body there and leave it there. And that all happened within 3 months. Of 3 months of just doing it. Just cut out all the, can I do it? Will I do it? Just do it, see? It's just simple as that. Just do it. But get comfortable. Don't just get so that your head, neck, and chest are in a straight line. You can sit in a chair. Doesn't matter. Whichever way you can do your thing most comfortably, so you can get your body cool. The mulbun closed. Now, this particular kind of breath control is all preparatory, and therefore it's all, in this case, it's all upper breathing. It is not lower breathing. You're not breathing down here. It's up in the chest, diaphragm up here. So there is another bund or opening called the Udian bund, which is right here. Now, in different kinds of things, you do different kinds of breathing. And it's not good and evil. It's just different kinds of breathing for different purposes. This particular type of breathing is upper breathing. You close the Udian bund as well. That's where you suck in on your gut just a little bit. Now you can notice that when you let out your air completely, you can suck way in the gut, and when you strengthen those muscles, your stomach starts to go in rather than out or straight. It goes way in under your chest cavity. But at the moment, you just pull it in just a little bit. So you've closed the mulbund and the Udian bund. And then this first one called Shitli, you extend your tongue and make it into a U. Like that. Now, many people say, I can't do that. Statistics sometimes say that 70% of the population can do it and 30% can't do it. There's been a study of who can make their tongue into a U. See? However, most of the people that say they can't can. They just never have learned how to do it. So all you got to do is stand in front of a mirror and do all the things with your tongue you think you could do until it turns into a U, because there's a place that it turns into a U, but you don't know it, see, because you've never looked at it. So you get there and you get as close to it as you possibly. You extend your tongue quite far, create the U, then breathe the air. You breathe, this is a good thing to do facing the sun or facing the sun in your mind. And you breathe light force in through your tongue. And then you close your mouth and let it out your nose. And the breath is not forced and it's not shallow. It's deep, but not forced deep. Now, one more thing. While you're doing that, you keep your attention focused right here on your ajna. Okay? So that you bring in all this energy and you bring it as fast as you can right to this point. And when you're doing this properly, after you've done even 5 of them, you will feel a huge burning sensation right up here. You'll feel tremendous heat, and you will start to experience light in your forehead. Just from this breathing exercise, after you learn how to do it. Now, you do 5 of them the first time you do it. Then every time you do it, you add 1 more till you get up to 50. So we'll do 5 now. The next time you do it, you do 6, then 7, and so on up to 50. Then you do 50 each time. Right? Close mulbund, close Udian bund, head, neck, and chest in a straight line, in through the mouth, out through the nose, bringing all of the energy right to the place between your eyes. Okay? Do 5 of them. That is called Sheetli. The second of these is called Bhastrika. It is also known as the bellows. You will again close your Uddiyana Bund, keep as a little bit, keep your Mul Bund closed, the lower Bund closed. Bund means gate. The breathing again is upper chest, upper breathing. You will take short staccato breaths in through your nose, breathing in and out, hitting the in point and the out point as if with a trip hammer. It's as if tick, tut, 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 tut. The game is to keep the in-breath and the out-breath of equal duration and equal intensity. And go as fast as you can comfortably go, keeping those of equal duration and equal intensity. The body during this entire exercise is to be kept relaxed. The focus is on the inside of the tip of the nose. That is right inside where when you breathe, you'll feel air hit the nostrils right here. And when the air hits these nostrils, that's the place right there you focus on. And just put your attention there. You do this for 30 seconds, and you just estimate 30 seconds. Just feel your way through a clock for 30 seconds, or however long 30 seconds. And then at the end of that time, rest for a few moments, and then do another 30 seconds. Evenly, calmly, but in and out trip hammer, like do it just at the rate you can do it to be, or brrr, but fiercely. Don't be too gentle. Fiercely. Head, neck, and chest straight line. Mul Bund closed. That one was called Bhastrika. The third one is called Nari Sodan. Nari Sadan is ultimately the most powerful of these three, although it appears to be the least, often at the beginning anyway. In this initial way of doing it, you take your third finger, place it on your forehead of your right hand, and then using your thumb on your right nostril and your fourth finger on your left nostril, you now control your two nostrils. Your third finger is right on your ajna. Now you will take air in through the left nostril. Then you will hold it and you will let it out at the right nostril. Then you will take air in the right nostril, hold it, let it out the left nostril. That is, you will change over nostrils before exhalation, not before inhalation. So it's, now, during the time you're doing this, watch this whole process, you will visualize, and this is where one-pointedness becomes very important. When you're taking in through your left nostril, you will visualize energy going in your nose and down the left-hand side of your spine to the bottom of your spine. Visualize a long U. And then what happens from where you're sitting, the left side, you start down the U, breathing in the left nostril, then across when you're holding, then let it up and out the right, then in and down the right, across, up and out the left. In and down the left, across, up and out the right, in and down the right, across, up and out the left. Now, what you're doing by doing this is sensitizing yourself to two nerves called the Ida and Pingala, or two sensory pathways. And you will start, at first you'll just fantasy that you're doing this. Later on you'll start to actually experience those places. You'll start to get, I'll tell you, when I go let my breath out, I feel a vrrr. It's just like somebody runs their finger up your spine at first, and then it gets even more powerful later on. Now, the key important place is during the hold that you keep your consciousness right at the bottom of your spine. Right? That's the key one. So that you start in, you take in on a count of 4, hold on a count of 2, let out on a count of 8, hold 2. In 4, hold 2, out 8, hold 2. In 4, hold 2, out 8, hold 2. Then I'll tell you what the next exercise is, even though you only do these 3 for a while. All right? Now, a count of 4 means it's roughly 4 seconds. The Vedas talk about the way of measuring it as you go around your knee and snap your fingers is one way of doing it. You could do it 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4. Or you can do it. It's about the same thing. It's roughly counts of right? So it's in, 2, 3, 4, hold 2, out 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, hold 2, in 2, right? It's like Arthur Murray. Mulbun closed, head, neck, and chest in straight line. Third finger on the forehead, take in on the left, let out on the right, in on the right, let out on the left. Consciousness goes down the spine, across, and up. Do 5 of them, 5 rounds. In these three, then, in the first one, you'll do 5, then 6, then 7, up to 50. And you do 50 a day. In the second one, you do 2 units of 30 seconds each. Later, after a few weeks, you can make it 4 units of 30 seconds each. The third one, you start with 5 rounds, and then you increase that one up to 50 rounds. That's the slowest one. The whole thing will take you about 20 minutes when you're doing the full round. It's a way of calming your mind. It's a way of centering. It's a way of getting your body lightened. It's a way of calming your breath. It's a way of changing your blood, which will ultimately start to affect your diet. Don't underestimate its power. Very, very, very useful technique. After you have been doing this for a while, sufficiently long so that you are feeling those nerves in your spine, and so that you can keep your mind one-pointed, then you move to the next one, which is where you retain the breath for longer periods of time. For this one, it is good to have somebody around who is doing it and who has done it before and knows about it and can guide you a little bit if you have any problems, or be able to ask somebody if you run into any problems. You should be able to have somebody, a checker, when you're doing the more advanced breathing. It's called Anulom Bulom. And in Anulom Bulom, I'll just tell you what it is so you can know anyway, even though I don't think you want to undertake it unless you have fulfilled these things I've been telling you about. You would close the Mulbund and Udian Bund, and then you will take in the air on 4. Then you close the Julanda Bund, which is by putting the chin against the neck, like this. So you close this, this, and that. And then you hold the breath for a count. Say you might do 4, 16, 8, 2. And then you'll get to 6, 32, 10, 2. And then up to 64, and then 128, and so on. Now, the secret of that one, that's the powerful one, in the sense that that's the one that'll take you into samadhi. Just force you right into samadhi, if you can do it. But the if is big, and the if requires that you can make your mind totally one-pointed. And the way the game works is, you're holding your breath, and you've got this closed and this closed, and you're holding it, and you start to feel that pressure, and if you feel like you're holding your breath, that means your attention isn't where it's supposed to be, which is at the bottom of your spine. And now the game is, can you keep your attention at the bottom of the spine at the same time as you're holding your breath without attending to holding your breath? That's what the whole secret is. It's easy to keep your mind one-pointed when there's no pressure. The question is, can you keep your mind one-pointed when there is pressure? It's like fasting. Can you keep your mind one-pointed when you're hungry? And in the same way, the way it's written up in the Vedic books, for example, or in something like Serpent Power or something like that, you visualize at the bottom of your spine a triangle, an inverted triangle of yellow fire, in which is a lingam, around which is wound 3.5 times a serpent with its head down. And you visualize this triangle of fire right in from the bottom of your spine and up from those 3 nerves, right in a place down in there. Same time keeping everything closed, and you're holding your breath, and then you go down and you become that yellow triangle of fire and become that serpent. That's all. You just become the serpent. And then just keep holding your breath. And there is a point where you're holding your breath, and when you experience you're holding your breath, you're in the wrong place. You forgot what you were supposed to be doing, which is keeping your consciousness at the bottom of your spine. And the high moment which is very powerful, is when you suddenly remember that and you put your consciousness back on the bottom of your spine, and then suddenly you are not holding your breath and you're not breathing. And usually at that point you say, I'm not breathing, and that brings you down. See? In other words, you just did that thing. You took yourself out of the place. So the process is that it only works when you can make your mind totally one-pointed. That's the only time it works. It doesn't work otherwise. You can play it, but it won't work. It is now 20 minutes of 1, and I think I was supposed to stop at 12 or something. I'm sorry, I've ruined the schedule. We meet again at 2:30. And now, when you're eating, I would suggest if you... later we'll do a silence exercise, but I think this time, I think we can take our meal in silence. I think that wouldn't hurt us too badly. See, most of what we talk about is interpersonal stuff. It's just stuff. And it's interesting to sometimes set aside that stuff a little bit. And if you're going to eat, eat consciously. And that means when you're picking up a piece of food, pick up the piece of food. And when you're chewing it, chew it. And when you're savoring it, savoring it. When you're swallowing it, swallowing it. You find out the minute you start to eat consciously that way, you eat just as much as you need. Because that unconscious eating, where you keep eating and eating and eating, and I'll have some more of that, and all the time you're saying, and don't you think that's terribly interesting, and I'm certainly going to try that, and I certainly want to become conscious, and all the time you're pouring food into your mouth as if, well, after all, I got to stoke the furnaces for the afternoon. That's all illusion, by the way. It's all nonsense. It's all nonsense. So you might as well start out by starting to try to eat consciously. And in the Southern Buddhist method, you can just go through just observing the process of eating, observing the picking up of the food, and then the putting it in the mouth, and the chewing it, and the savoring it, and the swallowing it, and then the eyeing the next bite, and then the moving in, and then the organizing the food on this fork, and the picking up, and the putting it in the mouth, and chewing it, and savoring it, and enjoying it, and swallowing it, and digesting it, and all the pressures in your body. You can just... That's plenty for your consciousness.